Popping by today to talk to you for a little about creating a strengths-led culture and conscious leadership and the relationship between those two things. And the reason for that is that I just have been realizing lately how little people understand about the value of creating a strengths-led culture. Now, what is a strengths-led culture? It is a culture where we prioritize the behaviors, actions, ways of thinking, and interacting with each other that work to produce above the line behavior. It's something that, most of us are familiar with the concept of above and below the line behavior, but what I am realizing people haven't been giving as much credit to as they could, or maybe understanding the impact of, is just how significantly we can alter our culture by focusing on strengths rather than weaknesses. Now, this is a form of optimistic orientation, of future focus, of positive psychology. But really, to be able to focus on strengths, we have to firmly understand them first. And the whole concept of conscious leadership is about self-awareness. It is about reflecting and taking action. So understanding in depth. In fact, I might just share with you the 5 dimensions of conscious leadership. So the first one is strengths. That is all about understanding in detail and with comprehensive linkages, I guess, to organizational outcomes and to your role in the organization. Understanding exactly what are your strengths. And now we have the diagnostic tool that we use to determine strengths, to do the analysis and assessment of that for you. So we can certainly help you with that if you're interested. But the first thing we have to do if we want to create a strengths-led culture is we have to get present to what are my strengths as a leader or a colleague or a person who is part of this team. What are my specific strengths? So we determine your top 5 strengths, and the value of knowing that is you can get really connected to how can I actually lead from, operate into, and manage for my strengths. Now, the strengths are your unique talents. These are the areas that you can use to really start expanding your results. So if you want to explode the outcomes that you're having, then it is natural and necessary that you will need to focus on your unique gifts and talents to do that. It doesn't work to focus on the things you're not great at, right? That's a focus on the negative, a focus on the gaps. So what we want to be doing is identifying what specifically are my strengths. What are my top 5 strengths, and then how do I use those strengths to build better culture? Now, the core concept of conscious leadership is around the 5 dimensions of strengths and then engagement. So once you firmly and fully understand your strengths and the capacity of those strengths to expand outcomes, what you want to be doing then is start looking at how do I actually use what I know about my strengths to create greater engagement. And the reason for that is that engagement is both catchy, right? So engagement spreads, but engagement invites optimism. And the more optimism we have, the more we are able to stay above the line in terms of contextualizing the environment to get better business outcomes. So this is all about understanding what your strengths are and then using your strengths to engage really effectively with your teams and to be able to encourage the kind of accountability that generates expanded outcomes. Next thing we want to do is about leadership. The 3rd dimension of conscious leadership is leadership itself, because management of our resources and tools to get our outcomes, it's a full-time job, right? So inside of understanding your strengths and the strengths of your team and engaging more effectively to create increased accountability, you want to start looking at workflow, task allocation, project management methodology. So a lot of the stuff that we cover in our workshops naturally. Next thing you want to do after that is you want to self-reflect. Self-reflect is an essential element of conscious leadership because it's not enough just to have insight. Insight is great and it is a first step to emotional intelligence, but insight alone does not produce outcomes. If you want to create outcomes, and particularly if you want to create outcomes other than what you've already got, like if what you've got in any area of business or life that's not working for you or not working quite as well as you'd like it to, if you want to create expanded outcomes, you're going to have to do something differently. If what you were doing now was sufficient to get you the result you want, you would have it already. So I promise you, all effective change starts with recognizing the conflict, whether that conflict is internal to us, internal to the or systemic to the business or organization, we have to recognize where is the breakdown before we can reach the breakthrough. Yeah. So we want to start looking at where are the areas for improvement, you know, a bit of a mini gap analysis here. What is it that I need to use my skills of self-reflection to action? Where is the opportunity for innovation? And that's where the solutions come from, right? And then the last thing is communication. So as most of you know, we teach communicating for outcomes, which is all about being future focused and understanding what is the end game here. Doesn't matter what the size of your business or organization, if you want a specific outcome, and that outcome can only be determined by you. Maybe you want to have greater leadership impact. Maybe you want to explode your sales results. Maybe you want to create better client engagement. Maybe you want to increase your profit margin. Whatever the goal is that you want, you can take that goal or result and you can plug it in to the conscious leadership framework to enable you to figure out, okay, what are the actions I need to take across these 5 key dimensions? So just repeating those dimensions for you: strengths, leadership, engagement, communication, and self-reflection. So yeah, this is all about optimizing your results and outcomes by understanding specifically, where am I trying to get to now? Where am I right? Where am I trying to get to at the end of this? Where am I right now? And what's actually going to make the difference here? Now, the conscious leadership framework is a really simple way that you can do that and start action planning. Obviously, we guide you through that process. If you want to know more about creating a strengths-led organization, there's a whole science behind that. We get far better engagement from our teams when we really understand what their strengths are and we play into their strengths. And the pitfall that we see with a lot of managers and business owners and executives even is that, and even boards, even like at whole board level, we often find that what our clients are doing is they're playing into what's missing rather than what's present. So you want to be asking yourself, what are the strengths that I can work with to maximize outcomes here? So I just wanted to pop on briefly today and yeah, just share those 5 dimensions of conscious leadership and create a bit of a foundation for what is a strengths-led organization, why is it of value, and what's the relationship between those different stages of consciousness and the culture within our organizations. I hope that you're all having a fabulous day, and please don't hesitate to reach out, drop me a PM if you have any questions at all. And hopefully we'll see you over in the Culture Tribe group soon. Have a good day.